Fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I am live for the Friday evening chat. Yep, just like 2 this morning, it's on the fly. Okay. I want to see how many people are up versus how many people are not. We had a nice little crowd this morning, and I think we need to repeat that. Did a lot of videos today. Not a third of them are even out, but I think enough of them are out to please and quench your thirst of Counterpunch Boxing News that you can use. Amen? So, it is what it is. You guys come in, hit that like button. And big news today. Fanon in the building. Fanon, he's getting the issue from all types of people that were once upon a time friends of his. So that's funny. Gervonta Tank Davis on his retirement bid. Who else? Who else is out there? Let's look up some boxing news. How about that? Boxing news. All right. Let's talk about this Jake Paul shit for a minute. Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. That's nothing but a mere money grab. I'll say this. If AJ fights Jake Paul, AJ will then join the circle of people that have made massive amounts of money fighting freak fights. How Usyk calls freak fights, right? Freak fights. I mean, started with Floyd and Conor McGregor. Then Tyson Fury decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to be like my big brother Floyd and fight Francis Ngannou. Hard hitting, tough, strong African Francis Ngannou. Hardest puncher known to man. Recorded. Strongest puncher known to man. And it was entertaining. I mean, it was something that we didn't anticipate. And I think that's what kind of put us at a curious mindset when it came to what happens when you put an MMA guy against a boxer nowadays. Quan Big Guns, salute, Counterpunch Boxing, Bill knows boxing in the building. Is AJ talking about Paul fighting Paul? Is only Paul doing his clout chasing shit? You know what? That's a good question. Very, very good question. Really, to be fair, we've heard Jake Paul talk about it, and we've heard Eddie Hearn talk about it. We haven't really heard AJ talk about it. And I think that I think you know how that goes with Eddie talking about stuff that AJ can do or possibly is thinking about doing. It doesn't really mean that it's going to happen. You got to ask AJ about that. So, I mean, Jake Paul is a master of, overall, suspense, right? Build up, clout chasing, promoting, trash talking, right? Blowing it out his derriere, that type of shit. If AJ does it, he is done. I want to ask you guys a question before we even go into that. Let's do a poll because I have to ask this question. Okay. Okay, boom, there you go. Poll is complete, or started rather. And I think that's everything you need to know about AJ, because I'll leave it up to you guys to decide, hey, what do you think AJ should do? Will he be done if he does fight Jake Paul? What do you expect him to do? I think that's fair enough to ask that question, because if you're saying AJ is done, okay, well, if you don't want him to fight for a title, if you don't really want him to do or to be the best that he can be or fight the best fighters he can fight, what's the point? He's just here. That's why I don't really understand how some people take the stance on Usyk. It's like either you want him to retire or you want him to fight the best. You can't have it any other way. You can't have him languishing around saying I'm the best like Tyson Fury claimed to be back in the day, right? But not continue to fight the people that want the opportunity that got you where you are now. It makes no sense, does it? See, for Tyson Fury saying I'm the best, and then Usyk beating him, only to say I'm the best now, which is cool, but don't fight anybody else. Understand Usyk was like those other guys that were undefeated, like I get Cabayel. Joseph Parker's next in line. Okay, but in the realization of understanding how things work in boxing, those, like, everyone that you beat made you who you are. So if you fight to get at the top and you feel that you no longer have to fight, you're no better than Tyson Fury was. See, you don't beat the guy, complain about how a guy really took you through hell, gave you the runaround, bullshitted you, stalled, and stalled again. Then someone had to come in with a shitload of money to force that fight. Then it happened. Then you threw away a belt. Then you fought for the unified title without the IBF. Then you beat him again. Then that guy retires. Then you beat the guy that you've already beaten. Then what? You don't fight the guys that are next in line? It makes no sense. So, saying all that to say this about AJ, well, who else do you think he should fight? AJ still has more to give. He is still an elite boxer. Okay. Who is the gay bad then? I don't know who the hell that is, Thunder God. Who wins prime AJ versus prime George Foreman? You know what? That's a good fight, because when you think of prime George Foreman, you don't think of that bald-headed dude with the pot belly with the mean, lean, fat-reducing machine. You think about the guy with the fro that was 40-0, that had 35 KOs, that had no losses and no draws. The guy that stepped in the ring with Muhammad Ali. That guy that fought Muhammad Ali, being 6'3", right, weighing about 240 pounds, muscle on top of muscle, grit, thick, hard hitting, chopping shots. Do you think AJ could deal with that? And you know what? I would have to say a prime AJ would, because AJ in his prime, was probably about 2017, 18, right? I give that his prime days. And because, he was fearless. He took a licking and kept on ticking. He took shots. He traded punches. He was in bang out, drug out fights like the Klitschko fight. He got his nose shattered against Alexander Povetkin, kept coming to knock him out in the 7th round. So, that guy fighting George Foreman, oh yeah, that would be a pretty damn good fight. Prime AJ is punch perfect. AJ should run it back with Dubois. Well, I think here's the thing. I'll say this, Bill. If AJ doesn't fight Dubois for a rematch and Dubois is willing to fight AJ, because you have to keep in mind, it ain't all about what AJ wants now. We don't know what Dubois' next step's going to be. He may say, fuck it. He may pull an Andy Ruiz and say, you know what? I don't want to fight anymore. I'm a millionaire. I just had a young baby. I'm going to help raise this baby the way I want to. And I'm moving to Brazil. If I break up with old girl, don't matter anyway, because I got whores all over the country. There's more where they left that from, right? Joe Calzaghe, best pound for pound boxer. The problem with Calzaki, though, Calzaki was like, he has the Lennox Lewis problem. Um, Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, Michael Moore, Oliver McCall, George Foreman, Evander Holyfield. You know, you had the 90s produced a lot of good from the beginning of the 90s even to the end of the 90s. They produced a lot of heavyweights. And what I noticed is Lennox Lewis got knocked out by McCall. It took him 5 fights, 6 fights to get back to the Oliver McCall fight. And that really legitimately wasn't a revenge. It was like a dude that broke down in the ring and refused to fight. You can't deem that as a revenge fight. You know what I mean? I look at that fight in the same way I look at Dillian White versus Povetkin 2. Everybody talk about Dillian White knocking out Povetkin. Dude, you understand that dude was a dead man walking when he walked in there? He was no good. Alexander Povetkin in the rematch with Dillian White was a sick, old, worn out version of himself. He was half the man that he was when he fought him in 2020. That COVID, I think, almost killed him. I think that COVID almost took Alexander Povetkin out. I think that almost, because I mean, he was just, you can tell he didn't have his balance. He wouldn't even really, I mean, he was throwing shots, but he was like an old drunk man. You ever seen an old drunk ass man? He's weathered, so he's old, but then he's drunk, so he's impaired, but he can't even stay on his feet. That's how Alexander Povetkin was against Dillian White. And it was sad, bro. I mean, it wasn't even really that, you know, retribution that he thought he was going to get. Nikki Blue Eyes Austin, good evening. Kurt here with you every good evening. Good evening, Nikki Blue Eyes Austin. Bill, no, oh man, that's messed up. He did beat Roy Jones, but that was at the end of his career. Well, that's the problem. So let me before I get too far off topic, Lennox Lewis, I look at him like Calzaki. Those guys didn't really, like, they fought everyone, but they didn't fight everyone at the right time, you know? Because Lennox Lewis was there. Calzaki was there. Calzaki wasn't fighting Roy back 3 or 4 years before that. And he wasn't fighting Bernard Hopkins 3 or 4 years before that. He fought Bernard Hopkins, I believe, in 2008. I think he fought Roy in 2009. And both guys were able to drop him in the first round, which was a very interesting thing to see, but they were past their prime, you know. And Calzaki, I think he just did not have that signature, evenly matched person that potentially could beat him. He had guys, great resume, but the resume based on the time wasn't impressive. See, he beat Roy when Roy was not that dude. He beat Bernard Hopkins where Bernard Hopkins was just too damn old. He couldn't keep up with Calzaki. Calzaki was just too young and fresh. And you're looking at that, you're like, oh, wow. You know, you're fighting a guy that's fighting you and Father Time. So you're like, okay, well, shit. If you're fighting a guy that's getting old. He's fighting his own abilities because he know what he used to do, but he can no longer do what he is doing now. He's no longer able to do that like he wanted to. Has Fury retired now? He's supposed to be coming back. I don't know. Povetkin, his nickname is Dumpling. Roy made the weight excuse after the first Harvard fight, and fans ran with it. Nobody asked Roy to go down, and he went down because who else was he gonna fight? Wayne 88, to keep it a buck with you, to be totally pragmatic. And you guys know how I feel about Roy Jones Jr. Y'all must have forgot, but Roy Jones Jr., exactly right. Nobody told him to go there. Who else he was going to fight? He should have stayed his ass at heavyweight. See, if you look at everyone now, in hindsight, look at everyone that did that. Look at everyone that went up. It's probably except for James Toney. James Toney had a decent career at heavyweight, but he just wasn't a heavyweight. He wasn't a heavyweight. The punches that he was countering with, the punches that he was throwing, and he was turning with those shots. He couldn't hurt those dudes. That Samuel Peter fight, it was like a guy. It was like a piglet fighting a warthog. He just did not have anything for him. He did not have anything for Samuel Peters. Samuel Peters' shots were just horrific. Every time you seen they made contact with Eve, because James Toney is impossible. He's one of the most defensive-minded fighters, ever. He's defensively gifted. You can't hit that dude flush. He's rubbernecking. You know what I mean? But every time Samuel landed anything on James Toney, that dude, you could see, like, damn, that dude hits hard. Samuel Peters hits hard. Okay. James Toney would KO Calzaghe early. But here's the deal. You didn't have that signature fight. You didn't have Calzaghe, the Carl Froch fight. You see what I mean? Like, I think that's the fight that should have defined his career. Carl Froch and Joe Calzaghe should have fought. Period. But he's punch drunk. Yeah, Decker, he is punch drunk. I mean, the weird thing is, the irony of someone being the most defensive, it almost goes hand in hand with the ability or the punches, sure, that he was able to deflect or defend against or dip, bob, and weave. You have to also count the ones that actually landed. And those were the ones, needless to say, were the ones that damaged him. But James Toney, yeah, he's you can tell his voice is greatly affected by CTE. Greatly. Shapiso Coco. Hello, Kurt. Sorry, I just tuned in. I don't know what the topic is, but I just want to say that I don't want to see Fury and Usyk 3. It should not even be called trilogy because he lost twice, sore loser. Well, the powers that be want the fight is going to happen. That's that. I mean, there is really nothing you can do about it if it comes into corporate hands. And unfortunately, I didn't even like to look at Turki Al-Sheikh as that corporate man, but it's too much money involved for him damn near not to be the corporate man. Basically the corporate man is the person in charge, and those are the fights that he wants. So, again, it's now you look at it, it's like a kid with an ant farm. But Lennox Lewis, when he fought Tyson, when he fought Holyfield, they weren't those dudes. They weren't those guys no more. The thing that helped, I think, Lennox Lewis peaked later than those guys. He was a late bloomer. I lost all respect for AJ after that dumb outburst after the Usyk fight. Wonder Boy 15. It's crazy that a lot of people forgot that, but, some people will never forget that. And that was a bad look to AJ, because AJ's whole persona was character, respect, gentleman. Don't show emotion like that. That comes off feminine. And he showed us all that's how he can act. That's how he can conduct himself. And it was bad. I mean, you had, in like everybody, unless you were a fanboy, and I think this is what happened, okay? I think this is what happened. Wonder Boy 15. People found out, unfortunately for them, that I wasn't an AJ fanboy. Because when that shit happened, I was like, See, that's that shit that they talk about. I remember Dillian White said this first. And Dillian White, I think he just got through knocking out Derek Chisora. This was after the Derek Chisora rematch. And Dillian White called out AJ. AJ was front row there. And he called AJ a lanky piece of mierda, right? He said, I'm talking about that lanky piece of shit Rich sitting over there. And he went on to say, like, you guys think you know AJ. Yeah, you think you know him. He smiles and does all this bullshit, but no, he's really a piece of shit. And, you know, strange you hear stuff like that. And you're thinking like, he's just hating. What the hell does he know? But then AJ goes and pulls something like that. Then you start to kind of dig back in the archives of comments that were said about him that matched what he was talking or what they were talking about once upon a time. You see what I mean? And AJ did show a side that people were like, damn, AJ, you know, you just lost and it was a split decision. What are you getting and why are you acting like that? Why are you acting out for? You slap your daddy's hand. Hold on a second. You slap your daddy's hand, getting out of the ring. You threw the belts out of the ring that you thought that you would get back. You stormed out of the ring. You got halfway out of the ring on the way to the dressing room. And I guess I guess what happened was you thought about what could possibly go wrong. And then you went back and did that apology, which did not seem authentic. So I do understand that. And then when he did that, I'm like, oh shit, red flag, people. Did people fall off of the platform? Yeah. So, because I guess they thought this channel would never ridicule or counterpunch Anthony Joshua. I'm like, you can be a fan of someone to disagree with what they do and how they conduct themselves. He didn't slap an old lady. He just acted out. So it is what it is. But at the same time, you can't say that about no other boxer. But you can't talk about this is how you should be when you do act a certain way like you acted that day. You know, the better man won. Usyk won. And there you go. And a lot of people stopped watching me because I had something to say about it. A lot of other people did. But, you know, I was just telling it how it was. It wasn't nothing against AJ. I just thought he did a very shitty thing by doing what he did. He shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? His dad's trying to help him. Like, get off me. Right? And then, you know, he gets pissed off at the guy. The guy was kind of talking shit, but he was an older guy. You know what I mean? And you could tell he was probably from the East Coast somewhere like Baltimore or Philly or some shit. And then AJ walked past this old dude. If you guys can remember, he walked past him. And then the dude was just like, let's keep it professional, champ. Right? And AJ heard that shit. And I would have got pissed off too. Because I mean, dude, I'm already mad. I'm emotional. I had to rethink my madness because I didn't want to get sued. You know what I mean? And then he comes and back, and then you hear that shit from some cat. Keep it professional, champ. Just keep it professional. You know, and AJ snapped. Who you talking to? You know. Oh man, it was crazy. It was crazy. Craziness, dude. Crazy. Oh, that's nice. Good stuff. I think footwork world class saved him every day, every night. Oh, he was inside. 6 to 12 months training as a lefty. I think the key of beating Usyk is to attack while he's on the back foot. He doesn't seem to fight well going backwards. I don't know. Because with someone that, I mean, I wouldn't debate that. I mean, it's something that you can try. Shit, you can try something, but think about it though. If you think about someone like Usyk that already knows how to, counter going backwards, I don't know if that's a good idea. You can try it, but that doesn't mean that shit's gonna work. Kurt, pay-per-view is over. My mission in boxing is done. If it is, hey, I salute you. Tank and Tio is on Bounce TV. Tank and Tio. Jose Chavez is like, what's Robert Guerrero's dad? He's a woman beater. Woman beater. Woman beater. Woman beater. Versus Mr. What monkey wants the banana? Two turds, man. Two turds, Tank and Tio in it. Cabayel versus Usyk, 26-0. Hey, I would love that fight. I mean, I think Cabayel deserves the opportunity, and I think he's the guy that's going to be overlooked. But then here's the thing. He's also the guy that's going to be left standing. Because, see, they may not want Cabayel, which for good reason. But after everybody's gone, after all the wars, after all the dust settles, Cabayel will be there. And he will be there to pick up the pieces and kick the rest of the ass that's there. Because at that point, it won't be anything left to do unless the worst thing I can see for I get Cabayel now is he gets screwed by Mauricio, and that could happen. And people haven't caught on, like, yo, don't you guys know that the WBC is a money influence sanctioning committee? The only thing that really motivates them is money. Fame, popularity, that begets more money. If fame or popularity or clout wasn't important or it didn't mean bringing money in, they wouldn't care about any of it. They care about money. So the only thing I could see, which is possible, very possible, I just don't want that to happen for Aguet. Because he's done, he's a good guy, he doesn't talk shit, he's a holy man, you know what I mean? He does what he's supposed to do and he gives us exciting fights, right? So, he deserves it. But the WBC could shut him down. They could shut him down. They could shut that dude down. They could, they can throw Tyson Fury's ass in there to fight Alexander Usyk while he's still able to fight and fuck up all the other opportunities in the slot from the other challenges that should be in that particular time frame. And they're wasting it on bullshit ass Tyson Fury while he goes and takes a hiatus of getting high and drunk and coked out and all that. Then he can come back to the sport, make another $30-40 million. Whereas this guy that's been fighting since the day that he started fucking fighting and ain't never been defeated needs an opportunity and don't get it. That's what really happens, and that's what could happen in this situation because it is the WBC. And unfortunately, he's the interim WBC champion. Usyk crowned Cabayel. You guys didn't see that? When Cabayel stopped Zhilei Zhang, the first one to ever do that, stopped the big wall of fucking China. He stopped the big wall of fucking China. And then what happened? Got off the canvas to do that shit, people. He ain't just beep, 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 hoo, 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 rubberneck his way through. No, he went to war with that big ass dude. With Big Bang Zhang, he went to war. He got his Purple Heart. Okay? He got his Purple Heart. He got caught with a good shot. He went down. He got back up. He stopped the big wall of fucking China. And in return, what happened? The WBC heavyweight champion of the world came in and crowned his ass as the prince of the fucking division, the WBC. Dude, these are just facts, people. Kurt versus Mauricio. Man, that ain't even a fight, bro. I wouldn't do that, man. Like, I wouldn't fight Mauricio Sulaiman. He's too old. He used to be a fat dude. I used to be husky, to say the least, but I was never just... I was never that dude. But no, I wouldn't do that. Like a lot of times, I don't believe in bullying. I don't believe it. Like if I knew a guy couldn't give me a good fight, what you fighting him for? Anger is one thing, you know what I mean? But fighting someone to what are you just trying to hurt somebody because you know you can beat them and you know they can't, like that Chris Rock versus Will Smith shit. Yeah. That's why I'm mad at, that's why people are mad at Will Smith. You know what I mean? Because Will Smith slapped a smaller guy. Well, I think that is like bullying, right? Now, if it was a dude that could fight, if it was a dude that was fucking with me, I don't give a shit how big you are. I'm gonna stomp you. I'm gonna stomp you the fuck out. But in hindsight, it's like, look, I wouldn't fight guys like that. Kurt, I'm convinced Zhang would be undisputed 4 years ago. 4 years ago, he was a contender 4 years ago. 4 years ago was 2021. And it's funny that Eddie Hearn, Matchroom 25H Management, AJ's management company, was scouting a fight with Zhang and everybody turned against AJ. Facts. When they were going to fight Zhang, they were like, oh, the fuck you fighting that fat ass dude for? He ain't shit. He beat him in the amateurs. And they all turned against him. They asked, why you want to fight Zhang? Why? Until he knocked out Joe Joyce. Everybody shut up about the shit, didn't they? Was it by unanimous decision? I thought it was by split decision. Let's find out. Parker versus Zhang. All right. Majority decision. I knew it was a unit. I'm like, no, bro. Hell no. You don't drop nobody twice and get a fucking unanimous decision unless you just did not do anything, that fight or in those other rounds when you didn't get the knockdowns, right? Nah. Majority decision. Nah. Because when I heard, I was like, nah, because that was a close fight. And if anything, Zhang, he got the Wilder fight. And see, here's my thing. I'm not mad at Zhang. I'm not mad. If I'm Zhang, I would be comfortable or I would be content with where I'm at. Why? Because Zhang probably had more opportunities than anybody. If you think about it, he was he was not in the days of reckoning. He wasn't. He was in the Wilder 5 versus 5. He was in the Joseph Parker fight last year, where he come up short, majority decision. Then he was in the Cabayel showdown. So he was there 3 times. So this man got 3 checks. Cabayel, the tree chopper versus Usyk. Though, I do wonder. I wonder about that fight because we will then know if Usyk, because you notice, guys, how critical Usyk is of body shots all together. And someone that likes to go to the body like Cabayel. I see, unfortunately, looking at that fight like that, depending on who's the referee. If it's Lawrence Call, Cabayel is going to destroy Usyk. Because he's not, if he hits him low, if he hits him on the belt line, if he hits him around the belt line, if he hits him in those illegal areas, it won't matter because Lawrence Cole ain't going to say and see shit. He's just going to sit there. Come on, keep on going. That's good. That ain't on your balls. It ain't on your dick, right? But if it's Luis Pabon, oh yeah, he's going to have issues because he's not going to be able to go to the body without Usyk. So you know what I mean? And then Pabon is going to be one of those guys that he is sensitive on where you throw shots in that general area. Because he was the same referee when Usyk fought Joshua the second fight. And Joshua hit him in that same area, around that same area. And then Usyk was, and then turned away and all that shit. So, keep that in mind. A guy that likes to go to the body versus a guy that likes to, complain about people going to the body. So Usyk is slowing down, so it's possible. Punch, you really feel Usyk versus Cabayel is competitive? Yeah, I do. You think it's not? Look. What gives you the idea that it's not? What we seen in Usyk versus Dubois. Usyk did not, and he look. He set down on his punches a lot more than he did. Just like any southpaw that you see that slows down. Lara, Rigondeaux, Whitaker, all of those guys are southpaws, right? They all started doing what? Less moving, more landing and stepping down on those shots, sitting down on these shots, being more stationary by throwing these shots. They get better knockouts because they're not moving like they used to. They're not using that footwork, that those special legs that they have, because maybe those special legs are getting fucking tired. You ask anybody that played basketball, right? College, right? Pro. You ask them how their knees feel after 10 years of playing ball. Shit, 5 years of playing ball. Your knees get wore out, especially if you use your legs in excess. Your ligaments wear. Your joints tear. All of these things are there. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're talking about someone that has that uses their legs, that dips, dashes, and the wear and tear. They go from back and forth, in and out, and they're moving side to side, and they do that for 3 rounds a minute, right? Coming in and out, in and out, in and out, side to side. That wears shit down, people. I'm trying to explain this to you, just like basketball players, man. Shit, 10 years on, playing pro ball or whatever, they're going to need knee replacements and everything else. Why? Because they've done and they've used their legs in excess. Okay? And Usyk ain't no different. I seen in that fight with Dubois, I seen him more stationary than he was in the first fight. For the first fight, he was still feinting. You can still feint without using your legs, so that's not going to change. That's overall boxing IQ and what to do or to manipulate a fighter to do what you want him to do or to see what he's going to do. That's different. But I'm talking about is getting out of the way, moving, avoiding confrontations, or getting in to score and land when you need to is going to take footwork. And that footwork takes legs. Your legs get old. Therefore, you start slowing down, more stationary. And that's what I saw in the Daniel Dubois fight. If you don't believe me, go back and watch that shit again. Then go back and watch the first fight with him fighting Daniel Dubois. You will see a difference. Yeah. But he was still able to get the job done because he was still faster than Dubois, because Dubois came in, like my uncle said, stiff as a dick. He was stiff. So it is what it is. But, Cabayel ain't no dude that can't move either. You got to be careful what you say, and we won't know until it happens. What you guys see in your mind is Usyk beating the shit out of Dubois. That's all we're seeing right now. You're replaying that shit over and over. That's what you're seeing. Him throwing the Ivan punch to Daniel Dubois, dropping Dubois, Dubois folding over, catching himself with his gloves, and then falling down and thinking about it and getting up on the 8 count. Thus, the fight's over. Round 5. That's what we keep replaying in our minds. Replaying. Bro, Usyk's a beast. Bro, did you see that shot? Man, he knocked that dude down. He knocked that dude out. He didn't want to get up. All this, that, and the other. And this is what we keep we are looking at Usyk versus Dubois too. That's what we keep looking at. And to be fair, we do base off the last performance. So you should be looking at that, but you cannot base that on a potential fight with another fighter. We just seen his capabilities against someone that fights the way Daniel fights, not the way Cabayel fights. Go look at Cabayel and see how sneaky this motherfucker is. Cabayel's a sneaky mofo, bro. He's a sneaky somebody. Oh, yeah. He will, like a lot of times, if you see Cabayel, and then he has a chin. So, he took those big bang punches. Shit, he got up from a big bang shot. Shit, you can't say that about Joe Joyce, can you? No. Come on. Cabayel slips uppercuts in between the guard. Cabayel is a good fighter, bro. Talking about, does he have a chance? Shit, he got a better chance than Danny Dubois with that bullshit that he came in there with. And he's a switch hitter too. Yeah, he can turn. I've seen him. So, I mean, bro, that would be a shot. That should be the fight to make. See, I don't give a fuck who's the most popular. I'm sick of those popular fights. What have we learned against blockbuster popular fights that happened? They weren't shit. Think about it. What was the last popular fight that we saw? The biggest popular mega fight that we saw. What was it? What was it versus what and how did it do? Pacquiao Mayweather. Bullshit fight. We could have watched a fucking football game and had more excitement than watching that shit for 12 rounds. The only significance was it was Mayweather versus Pacquiao. But the performance at hand wasn't what we thought it's going to be, was it? No. Big mega fight. How many mega fights? Johnny Tapia versus Danny Romero. Big fight. I know this is back, bro. I'm showing my age. This is 95 or 96. One of them. Big fight, wooden shit. All right? These big fights. De La Hoya, Trinidad. Big fight, wooden shit. Look, Anthony Joshua, Oscar De La Hoya, Trinidad. Wooden shit. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury will probably be another snooze fest. Because it'd probably be, Tyson not trying to commit or get caught with something big because he wants to show how good of a boxer he is against someone that doesn't supposed to be as good of a boxer as he, and then he's not going to try to commit and come in like he did with Deontay Wilder because he knows Deontay Wilder didn't have what it took to counter him like someone like AJ probably could possibly do. I could see that fight being a boring ass snooze fest. So saying all that to say this, people, saying all that to say this, right? This cunt. Yeah. Okay, cool. Boom. So, saying it all that to say this, it's like, what big fight did we see that we actually enjoyed? I mean, you could say Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. I mean, that was a good fight. But I mean, those weren't mega fights. You know? I have Cabayel versus Zhang on my other monitor. Good fight, bro. I love watching that fight. And I like how systematically he broke Zhang down round after round. Took a knockdown to do so, but he still obtained and fulfilled his objective. You see what I mean? That was beautiful. Beautiful, bro. Beautiful. Beautiful, man. I enjoyed the Tyson Wilder 3 fight, to be honest. I love that fight. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want to watch it because the fight didn't deserve to happen. It didn't deserve to happen for a lot of reasons. For one, Wilder was pissing and moaning like a child, saying that somebody cheated him, right? Then he wanted it in blood. So, we got tired of hearing that. But we were in COVID season, so it kind of gave us something to do. So I get it. But no. 2, Tyson Fury had already signed for AJ, and that was the fight that we wanted to see. But it never happened because of the negotiations, right? 3, Tyson Fury had signed a fight. I get Cabayel, remember him? And that fight never happened, and we wondered why. 4, Bob Arum, all of a sudden, him and his Dan Weinstein or some shit like that? I forget his name. But he was the mediator. And he ruled it in favor. But Bob knew that. Bob already knew that Tyson Fury was going to have to fight Deontay Wilder. Then, when the fight was made, it was postponed. So he was like, fuck. So now we got to wait for this shit because Tyson decided to postpone. Then he lied about the COVID shit. It was a lot of BS behind that. So, no, that fight wasn't necessarily on my want-to-watch list. However, I saw it, and I'm glad I saw that shit. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 is in the history books. And it should be. You seen a guy, and you know what? And I got it. See, nothing beats belief. Speak it, believe it, receive it, right? We've seen Deontay Wilder, as delusional as certain logical-minded thinking people are. There are people that believe that Wilder was cheated. If Wilder was cheated, since he was cheated, he fought. You could tell he fought like he was cheated. Like, this bitch tried to cheat me, and I'm going to try to kill this motherfucker. In that fight, you saw a guy with the limited skills that he had, still with the power that he possessed, was trying his best to put Tyson Fury to rest. Bars. And that fight was a good fight. When Tyson Fury dropped Wilder in the third round and Wilder came back and dropped him twice in the fourth round, hell yeah, that was a good fight. And I'm glad that fight. That was probably the biggest month I ever had. So no, I'm not mad. You know what I mean? But to be fair, did that fight deserve to happen based on the facts that we thought we had? No. But I'm glad it happened. Absolutely. Wilder couldn't beat a rusty Fury. I mean, I don't think Wilder could beat any version of Fury. You know what I mean? I just don't. I mean, based on, he fought him 3 times. But understand, that wasn't the same Wilder coming in at each and every fight either. The first time Wilder fought Tyson, he was like 215. The second time he fought him, he was 231. The third time he fought him, he was 238. This motherfucker had gained 20 pounds since their first encounter. So there you go. No matter what anyone can say about him, you have to admit that Deontay Wilder is exciting, tough, and always entertaining. Suzuki D Bastard. Yeah. He had heart too. He wanted to go out on his shield, and he did exactly that. I hope he's okay. Shit, he's still breathing. So there you go, man. So I do think that that was a good fight. And Wilder showed, like, hey, I think he gave it all he could give, and that's what it was. Usyk gives Lewis the Vitaly Ducker the blues. Never seen Lewis fight a southpaw, so that's kind of hard to say. Punch, I am wrong for feeling nothing compares to the heavyweight boxing. Well, no, I mean, I want people to understand this. I mean, I specialize in heavyweight boxing, but that's not the only thing I talk about. That's my focus point because that's my audience. You guys are my audience. You guys come here for pretty much heavyweight boxing news. You don't really come here for welterweights or, you know what I mean? I love light heavy, cruiser. So pretty much light heavy to cruiser because that's pretty much my focus point. Because I got love. One of my favorite fighters is Artur Beterbiev. Then Dmitry Bivol. It's just Beterbiev is more savage because, he's known to be knocking people out. But, they fought. They've had their thing. They gave each other losses. I think and I hope people would appreciate them more. Those guys won't get the recognition or the appreciation that I feel that they should get until they go somewhere like cruiserweight or let alone heavyweight. But then they will be much smaller heavyweights. But it is what it is. Yeah, strangeness. They're light, heavyweight, and cruiserweights. Those are the divisions, bro. And I love it. And they just don't get, it's crazy. Beterbiev simply aged out. Yeah, he's aging out like half wine, half vinegar. Because he's 40, so, But we seen in that fight, it's like, dude, he got tired of chasing Bivol, trying to figure Bivol out, then cut off the ring with Bivol. Got tired of not trying to get hit with counters. So you have to worry about a lot fighting someone like Bivol because Bivol will come with 4 or 5 punches on you. And you got to deal with those at the same time, plan your own attack or try to counter from a 4 or 5 punch arsenal of punches that you just have been thrown at you like little fast Scud missiles. That shit's tough. Spat, bat, 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 bat. He's coming at you like that, and you gotta, man, crazy. Bivol boxed Canelo's head off. That's how you do it. That's how Lara should have kept doing it. Lara, and I'm going to say this. You guys know my history with Cuba. I have Cuban relatives. I have Cuban roots. And I respect Cuban fighters. I would like to say if I was biased towards any group of people, would be Cubans, right? Everyone knows that. You should know that. However, I always keep it real. Cuban fighters are some of the most arrogant motherfuckers on the planet. They are. They're arrogant to the point from they feel they're entitled to decisions and influence and concessions just because they did whatever in the amateurs. A lot of them think that way. A lot of them come. Joel Casamayor was an arrogant motherfucker. You could tell. He was this arrogant Cuban that thought that his shit didn't stink. Yes, he was good. He was very talented. Yes, he kicked a lot of ass in the amateurs until he, of course, vamos, defected. He cruzal en los Estados Unidos. He left, defected from Cuba, and started fighting in the States. And he brought all that bullshit with him. Mm-hmm. But then you got guys like Rigondeaux. You got guys like Lara. You have these guys, and they're good, talented, distance, IQ, is just fucking through the roof. That's why Canelo couldn't deal with that. That's why he never fought him again. I get that. But you can't beat Canelo Alvarez in his own land. You can't beat him in his own land when you try to take time and take walks around the park. No, you have to concentrate on landing the next scoring shot to win you each and every fucking round. Not what Lara did. What Lara did was he beat Canelo. He outpointed him. He outboxed him. But he didn't outwork him. He didn't show the judges that, hey, I want to win this fight instead of actually winning the fight. See, sometimes people and judges give that round to the person that tried harder. Not necessarily did more. No. Because if that was the case, Lara would have done what he would have won. The Lara, that's it. Oh, that's 3 punch. That's 3 points. Lara, doing that shit. You know what I mean? And then, hey, let me take a walk around the park. And then here comes Canelo. And the crowd goes wild, right? So, I mean, the influence is, again, he's at home. He's at home. And he's showing that he's making an effort to try to show the judges that I'm winning this thing. I'm in control. I'm throwing punches in bunches, right? That's how Canelo won. But Lara being arrogant, esto campeón. No importa para mí. Esto era un campeón. Esto es un gran poseo. Esto es un gran poseo así. Okay. You can say what you want to. Lara Canelo the other day. Lara clearly won. Yeah, but it didn't really matter. Because look, what it is, and Lara wasn't even really showboating. I mean, he did in certain things, just kind of like what Floyd did. But he's not Floyd. He is not African American. He's Afro-Cuban. That's two different, different people. They might look the same, but they ain't the same. Unfortunately, this is boxing. Okay? He ain't a part of the money team. He ain't got Al Heyman, or should I say, he doesn't have Leonard Ellerby, because they are all without Heyman, needless to say. So let me correct myself with that. But no. But those guys that think, I can just come over here, I know I won the fight. No, you didn't show that you wanted it. Bivol did, though. You see, I came back around with that. Bivol did. Bivol showed that's how you beat Canelo. You don't give him breaks. You don't walk around the parks. You don't take these little walks and reset. You don't do none of that shit. You go toe to toe, or you use your legs to get out of there, but you show him more leather than rubber. Okay? That's what you show Canelo. That's how you beat Canelo. You're not going to beat him any other way. I'm sorry, that's not going to work. Veterans know how to win fights. I thought Ugas beat Porter, but the judges love Porter style. The judges love Porter because Porter is African American. And Porter is actually a cool dude. Ugas is an Afro-Cubano que no habla inglés. He don't speak English. This is the reality of it. That's the reality. You don't have a country behind him. You don't have Fidel's brother talking about go Uga, vamos, Uga, vamos Uga, Luite, vamos. No. You got a guy, you're a foreigner in a land of the free and home of the motherfucking brave. And he was not going to win a decision against Sean Porter. It's the same with Canelo. You're in Canelo land. You're not going to win a decision against Canelo unless you knock him out or you show the judges that you are the victor. You don't take rounds off being fucking arrogant or trying to look pretty. Cunt. Stop. That's the problem. Hell, Ugas beat Porter and it was a knockdown too. Porter ain't going to admit that, but it was a knockdown. We all know that. I watch all the boxing. We can talk about everything from the Diddle Joe to the damn if I know about boxing. I know about it. So, no, he was not going to win a decision. But karma's a mother sucker, isn't it? Because who ended up victorious? Ugas. How? Well, he lost to Porter, and then, from decision, and then he fought, he beat up, what's his name? Figueroa. He beat Figueroa's drunk ass, right? He won a decision against Figueroa, which he was on the undercard of Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao. Let me plug up this phone. Then he goes and he fights Errol Spence, which that was super weird because you guys can remember that he went and hit this guy, knocked him into the ropes, and then stopped the attack. And I'm thinking like, whoa, what'd you stop the attack for? What's going on with you? Right? And he stood there to let Errol Spence get his bearings back because somebody told him, Uga, no. Pero tú no tienes. No. Uga, no, por favor, no. Right? Because Ugas hit this dude. He hit Errol Spence so hard. Errol Spence went spiraling. You guys remember that. Cuba is a beautiful country with beautiful women. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. What is your opinion on Snack? I was listening to a little bit of Showbiz the Adult today, and I caught him talking about Snack. And to really add to that, people, here's the problem. Here's the angle. Okay? Everybody on Snack that's a part of Victor Conte, right? It's like this. Let's you guys remember, and I'm gonna ask you guys this because I want to know. Have you guys ever seen Catch Me If You Can? Have you ever seen that movie? It's with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. Have you seen that movie by Y for yes and N for no? Have you seen that movie? Can someone tell me, have you seen that movie? Oh, wow. Okay, we're ready. Yes, no, yes. Okay. 3 people answered, I bet about 50 are Googling it. Yeah, look it up. Catch Me If You Can, one of my favorite movies, bro. I'm a movie buff. Me and Boxing Wave are coming together to make a whole new channel called Movie Review. So, and we're starting next week, by the way. So, but yes, you guys seen it. Who has seen that movie? Yes, Ortiz was the lighter fighter, Pop with Victor, other than anybody Reynoso. Okay, in order to do something, it's got to be something. Okay, question is, have you guys seen Catch Me If You Can? Leonardo DiCaprio, Christopher Walken, Tom Hanks. I want him to earn no handouts. Forrest Whitaker. No, not Forrest Whitaker. The Purge is my movie. We go out and seek revenge. One of my homeboys' favorite movies. They like that shit. Oh, yeah. Great stuff. Boom. Catch Me If You Can. No, I haven't seen Happy Gilmore yet. But anyway, the movie is about a guy based on a true story named Frank Abagnale. Frank Abagnale was a con man. And he was a con man that became an expert in making fraudulent checks. Okay? All right? Making fraudulent checks. And he got so good, he got caught, sent to prison, and all this, or whatever, right? And the rest, you have to watch the movie. But, I mean, it was a spectacular movie. Now, here's the deal. Victor Conte, needless to say, is that same type of person, but on the drug end. He was so good at making drugs, giving athletes drugs, that he could, yeah, he did, Mama Lou, that he could give fighters drugs without them being detected. He was that good with the dosages, with the milliliters and milligrams and whatever the fuck he used. He was good at masking, hiding, avoiding positive drug tests. This is a fact. This had nothing to do with just, it's not a finger pointing at Terrence Crawford. It's a fact. Okay? Just like Angel Memo Heredia, the same way. He ain't the only one that was able to do that. There were many guys, strength and conditioning coaches that were able to do that. That were able to, you know what I mean? So, Victor Conte was one of those guys. So, now all of a sudden, he is the guy that makes snacks and makes supplements and this, that, and the other. Is he capable of doing that? Yes. Is he doing that now? No. Because he knows, well, listen, I can do that, but now I'm better needed being the person to help other people without doing that type of shit. Just like Frank Abagnale. Frank Abagnale was, needless to say, that guy that could catch fraudulent checks, but why would you worry about that when you could catch him? Because you know him. You've seen it before. You've seen what they've done because you've done it. Victor knows, like, look, I can't do it. I know what people are on when they do it, but why would I do it now? I've seen people do it. Like he said, the same type of people that can catch me or that know I can do it, they can catch me because they're good at it too. So he knows that there are people that are just as good at seeing what he's trying to hide than he is. So knowing that, and I think people are missing that point when they're talking about, man, Victor Conte, can't trust him. Well, understand, Victor Conte ain't the only person that knows how to mix drugs and shit together. He's not the only person that knows how to do certain things because there's other people that are also educated in that field. And they will find out about his ass. And someone like Victor Conte, old as he is, he made a legacy he became infamous for doing certain things. Therefore, I don't think he has time to fuck around like that. You know what I mean? And I think the true elephant in the room is everybody's talking about Terrence Crawford, and I think that's all a ploy because I think that is created, and I think that was created. I think Fanon was compensated some type of way to make this shit up now. You know why? Because people want Canelo's name out of their mouth. How do you do that? You start talking about someone else. You start throwing up dirt on the other guy. That's all this is. See, Fanon is a pawn. He's a pawn. Oh, he's a pawn. Because he knows that Canelo Alvarez, every fucking last one of them, except for Frank Sanchez, has been busted with something in the system. Every one of them in the Reynoso gym. All of them. All of them. So there you go. I want to see Joshua come back in 3 times world champion. Okay? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Hello, Kurt. Hope you're good. Daddy's Army 19, or 1, 2, 3, 4. So who's the puppet master? Have no idea. I have no idea. Philip Hergovic said that he wants a Dubois rematch. Yep. Did a video on it today. So, you know. So if he's getting sued, he's just getting sued. I'll do a video on that later, but no, man, dude, I just finished cooking and the shit looks good. So it's fair to say Snack is okay. Yeah, Snack's okay because the guy, yeah, he knows what to do, but I don't think that he uses every bit of what he knows to do wrong nowadays. You know what I mean? I think people try their best, especially at an old age like that, to try to cover up or to right the wrongs that they've done in time. But no, I don't put anything past him. Yeah, that motherfucker knows how to do something here and a little something there. You know what I mean? What Showbiz and others were talking about is the possibility of him still being able to do that in certain circumstances. But see, here's the question. Why would a fighter put their trust in a guy that they were going to try to cheat? Why would you then convince a guy that used to do that for you when you could risk getting caught? That's a risky, slippery slope. Why? Because there's millions of dollars on the line for each and every person. And it ain't just Terrence and Canelo. It's everybody else. It's the sanctioning bodies. It's all of them, right? This involves everybody. This is an undisputed fight. This ain't no bullshit fight for a title that nobody knows. This is for all the titles that everybody had and one person holds. Bars. This is for everything at 168. This is for legacy. You think that Victor would want any part of that? No, because everybody's going to look right at his ass. Hey, motherfucker. You're a cheater. So yeah, absolutely. What's on the menu, Kurt? Man, this is just meat. I'm going to just chop some potatoes, lightly season them, pan sear them, some olive oil, and probably some pecan oil. You know, I have avocado oil too, so, you know, I'll take my pick, right? I have beef links and I have a chuck steak. That's it. You know you speak the truth, Mama Lou. What's Mama Lou talking about? Bill knows boxing. Dubois needs a new brain. Damn. Hey, Kurt. Potatoes and beef fat is the best. Yep. And they're going right in there too. They're going right in there. Hopefully if Crawford is successful, it will have reverberations in the community. People will think twice about making allegations. Well, I mean, no. I mean, I already told you guys that if Terrence beats him, all the shit's going to come right back up. You're going to see someone like Fanon. Guys, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you, and these dudes know that he's cheating, okay? He is cheating. And there are going to be people that follow him. I mean, there's a lot of people. So many people got butthurt over Errol Spence getting beat that they had to go to that type of church and congregation because they needed to believe in something. They needed to believe that Terrence Crawford wasn't that good to beat Errol Spence, because Errol Spence was just that good. But I don't understand why, dude, he just wasn't the best at welterweight. He was one of the best guys. He was the former unified welterweight champion, period. So why is it now is so hard that a guy that comes from a different weight class is good enough to beat him? They cannot wrap their head around it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Kurt, you got to start doing a Dillian White impression. Canelo will hire Don Charles to claim Crawford believes in the devil. I don't know, man. I have no idea. I have no idea, dude. None. Danny Dubois, future undisputed champion. Okay. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. You know, everybody got to have a dream. Oh, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yes. See, you guys don't know perfection. This is perfection, guys. Let me show you guys something. Let me show you guys something. Look at that. Look at that. Yes. Look at that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look at that. That's prime rib beef links, and that is the steak. And it's done. It is done. Done and done. You got to have a brain to dream. Triple D's dad calls the shots. Man, you guys are so wrong, man. You talking about Daniel Dubois like that. If he would have knocked out Usyk, you wouldn't be talking about him then. Yeah, mate, I had beef sausages for dinner tonight too. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. You know, and it's not over, man. I already got some, and I'm getting lazy because I didn't want to season. So boom, look at these drumsticks. These are coming on next. Yup. These are coming on next, bro. So. Kurt, is your steak done like Wilder and AJ's career? Nah, it's medium, man. Pink all the way through. Rich, you're wrong for that, man. You're wrong. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to, reach out to you for this Friday. More videos coming your way all through the day, all through the night. We never close. 7-Eleven, we are open for business. Counterpunch boxing news that you can use, man. Yeah, man, XK shots, bro. I'm about to slaughter. All I need is some rice, and I got some, I got the potatoes, right? Got the potatoes. And I'll just have that and some potatoes. But rice would be good, too. Rice would be really good. So, yeah, I'm about to hook it up. Well, it's already hooked up. Just got to do the potatoes in the same fashion, in the same tallow. Oh, it's going down, man. But anyway, guys, love you guys. Be blessed. And I'll see you on the next live stream. Until then, everyone, I mean everyone, has been counterpunched. Peace.